following along, you'll notice that I've done quite a bit off camera, especially the foliage, because the foliage is such a slow, tedious thing to do. I just didn't want to bore you with it, if you'll excuse the pun. So, like I said, I did it off camera. Now I'm just starting up here now because we're going to be putting some foliage on the left-hand side today. You know, one of the interesting things I found out while doing my research for today's video is that to actually get one of these wells, well, not the actual windmill, but to get a bore drilled, you're looking at around $15,000. So I don't know what it would cost back in those days. Then, of course, you've got the windmill, the cost of the windmill on top of that. So it wouldn't be cheap. Although I assume that the majority of the bores would have an electric pump. And there's not a lot of alternatives either. I mean, if you need water, you need water. And a lot of the bore water is actually quite salty. And some plants really like it, like tomatoes, but then other plants don't like it at all. Like beans and cucumbers and blueberries. And it can stunt their growth, and it does cause foliage burn. So the water has to be tested by a specialist laboratory. So I got no idea how they would have deemed the water safe back in the old days. I guess it was a bit of a trial and error thing. Because some parts of the bore water are drinkable or potable, which is a new word I just learnt today. Potable meaning drinking water. Although now having found out the meaning of the word, I now find out that it's actually pronounced potable water. And it comes from the Latin word potar, meaning to drink water. Now the water from these bores comes from the rain and rivers, and that leaks through the ground, and these are known as aquifers, and they are below, well, most of Queensland. And of course, when you're driving around and you see all these, you go over a bridge, for example, and you see all these dried up riverbeds and creeks and that, and you think, wow, I wonder why they're all dry. And the only time there's any water in them is when we've had floods. So all that water, it just gets absorbed into the sand, into the ground, and hence we have these aquifers that produce or supply all the water for the farmers. Oh, and of course anyone else that wants to use it. And another interesting thing I found out too was that you don't have to have a license to bore water on your own land. Now that's strange to me because you've got to have a license for just about everything here. And did you know that a single borehole can produce around 20,000 litres of water a day? That's a lot of water. And there must be a lot of water in these aquifers. Now most of the water that comes from these bores is hard water, but it does have to be tested before you can use it. Like you've got to make sure it's okay for drinking and watering plants and filling up your swimming pool and things like that. But so it's classified as hard water. But, it doesn't cause kidney stones. I would have thought hard water would have. All that, the minerals and stuff that's in it. Yeah, in the majority of cases, bore water needs to be treated before you can actually drink it or, consume it. Now, if you boil the water for 5 minutes, that will eliminate all the bacteria inside it. However, it will not remove the solids, and other materials inside the well water. So you got to use chlorine as well, and that'll just about get rid of everything, all the bad stuff. Well, I'm slowly making a bit of progress over here on the foliage. Although I'm not 100% happy with the foliage at the top here. And once again, I'm resorting to using my artistic license. This one is actually in my head. I haven't got a reference photo of this. So I'm just making it up as I go along. Just put little bits here and there and checking it. And of course, this is very much the underdrawing because I've still got to go over it to put in the detail. All I'm really doing is just marking out where everything's going to go. Of course, down the bottom it's a bit darker because it's in shade. Well, once again, I think it's about that time I stop talking. So depending on what part of the world you're in, grab a glass or a cup of your favourite drink, put your feet up and relax, think about the wonderful weekend ahead, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Well, you watched through to the end, so I assumed you must have enjoyed it. So I recommend you watch this one next. This one over here. Well, I hope you enjoyed that just as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. And if you feel you're getting some value, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. And share it with your friends, because if you enjoy it, the chances are they're going to enjoy it just as much. And if you haven't yet subscribed but would like to, hit that red button, ring the bell, and that way you'll get notified every time a new video comes out. Well, that's about it for this week, my friends. Stay safe out there, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you in the next one. Same time, same place.